If you want to level up in your life, then you must know the difference between force and assumption. If you've ever read any of Neville Goddard's books, then you would have come across assumption. Assumption means that you already know it's happened. You're strutting into it. There is zero self-doubt. That is what assumption means. And if you want to level up in your life, then you have to assume with every cell and bone in your body that it's already happened. To get fully on board with assumption, you have to be 100% dedicated and disciplined to upgrading your self-identity, up-leveling your mindset, and 100% managing your emotions. Because if you don't do those three things, which is a daily commitment, then assumption falls by the wayside and you fall back into your old patternings and habits, which then leads me on to forcing. So let's talk about forcing. I know when one of my clients is forcing her way towards her dreams and aspirations, because she will use the word "I'm trying." And whenever you try to do something, it implies you are forcing something to go a certain way when it won't easily go there on its own. Now, stick with me, because I'm going to use me as a real life example to show you the differences between force and assumption. I did another video where I talked at length about strutting, the importance of strutting towards what you want rather than sprinting away from what you don't want. And that would be a really good sister video to watch alongside this one, because I spent the majority of my life sprinting away from what I didn't want, which was the energy of forcing. I was trying to make my life better, trying to be somebody different, trying to go after all these egocentric goals, because at the very heart of me, I believed there was something wrong with me. I had taken on a lot of conditioning, which has ended up me taking my childhood wounding into my adulthood, that I wasn't enough, there was something wrong with me, I was unlovable, I was unacceptable as me. So I created, and the thing is, from force, you can do a lot, but what it's going to do is exhaust you and bring you to your knees. And in fact, even though I created a lot, I also became a cocaine addict, an alcoholic, and I had 3 mental breakdowns, literal signs from my body to say this way of living, this way of forcing this reality into your life does not work for you. At the time, I didn't know there was another way. And it's taken a lot of work on myself, a lot of healing those core woundings so they no longer run the show. And this is a reminder for you, if you are running on the script that you're not enough, that you're broken, that nothing works for you, you're not this. That's not your identity. That's your conditioning. And your job is to heal yourself from that conditioning. Otherwise, it's going to keep getting in your way. When I forced my way through the world because I truly believed there was something wrong with me, it exhausted me. And no wonder I had 3 mental breakdowns. No wonder I was brought to my knees again and again, because I didn't listen. Stubborn Taurian over here. And here's an invitation. Do not collude with me over your stubbornness. Oh, I'm stubborn too. What I do now is I use my stubbornness for good. I put it in good use towards me doing the things I don't really want to do but know I need to do, because there are many things that you're going to have to do in this life. So you must stop listening to people online telling you that it's all going to be easy and there's only a 1, 2, 3 formula to get you from A to B. There is not. Life is very nuanced. You are very nuanced. There are many layers to you. And just when you think you get to a place where you understand yourself, another layer reveals. So let's move on to assumption, living in the energy of assumption. Last year, looked at my life and I went, is this it? Because I'd made my dreams come true, and yet there was a feeling of, I don't think I'm really meant to settle. And so at that point, I started to become open to what else was available for me. And what came to me, and these signs, I don't try and make sense of them anymore. I just kept seeing and hearing, I am the prize, I am the prize, I am the prize. So I kept saying that to myself, and I assumed that to be true. Because I've done so much work, I've created a methodology, I know I have done a bank load of healing on myself. So my least unevolved parts do not run the show. My conditioning is not leading the way anymore. I am here to be aligned with my genius. You've got your genius inside your DNA. I'm here to be my most excellent version of me. So I'm no longer sprinting away from who I am. I'm strutting towards the most excellent version of me. I want to see what's available for me. So as I move forward, living a life in assumption, when self-doubt does arise, because it will always arise, your fears will always pop up, especially when you least expect it, especially as you're coming out your comfort zone. I know how to manage them. I know how to wrangle them. I know how to move through them. And this is why high-flying, successful 50-plus women hire me as their private therapist and coach, because I can guide them through their self-doubt, through their fears, so they don't resort back to sprinting away and forcing their way through life, which I haven't even added this in, and it's very important. For women, as we get older, we don't have an unlimited supply of energy. And yet I would say I'm highly energetic. I am very discerning where I spend that energy, because when I assume what I want is already mine and I get my inner world on board, self-identity, mindset, emotional landscape, it is still challenging, but I'm not forcing. It doesn't feel like I'm pushing or struggling. It feels like a challenge, but it doesn't feel like a struggle. And therefore, I have way more energy to feed all the way back into myself. So, what's a smart, sassy woman like you got to do? Well, first of all, you've got to get really curious as to how you're moving through the world. Even if you've heard about the law of assumption, you've read Neville Goddard's books, if you're trying to assume, you're forcing it. There requires a deeper look at who you are and how you're moving through the world. You want elite support and guidance? Hire me. Everything you need is in my profile.